Hello, welcome to what I think is episode 24 of the Bad Psychics podcast. We are here to discuss the golf major season and review our predictions. This is definitely not the second time I've had to do this intro. Uh, as always, I'm joined by a couple of idiots. On your left, I predict he is the space between his ears is most like the PGA Championships venue, hollow and taken up by small birds. It's Grimmy.
Hi Z. What's the Birmingham City score?
It's not started yet, so it
Just thought I'd ask.
doesn't exist yet. And on the right, I predict he's most likely to view his primary pastime to be enlarging his extravagant slumlord empire. It's Jeter. If anything, he laughed
Hello.
more the second time.
I think I knew it was coming.
How are we both?
I'm good. I was picturing the image. Z, I know I sent you the memes of the four of the players at the Ryder Cup with like the screenshot of Patrick Cantley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send it to you later, Grimmy. But I had that image in my head, and I was tickled, picturing him as a slumlord.
Grimmy, you good?
Yeah, good. I'm very intrigued to see how my predictions have gone. Because I don't know if they're good or bad or somewhere in between.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't be bothered to do the same intro we did before, so I'm just going to get straight into the predictions. Can't be bothered to fake it. I cocked up, but I'm also lazy.
What a great lover you would be, Z.
Well, to be fair, when I'm making love, I don't normally go, oh, that was a mistake, I'll start again.
Fair enough.
Z's abandoned the foreplay. We're just focusing on four.
Hey.
It's graceful. Right, let's switch to our podcast in a whole? No, spreadsheet in a whole. Grief, this isn't going well. There we have it. Those were our predictions for the winners and potential runners and riders. So a reminder that for each tournament we predicted a winner, an outsider, and a long shot. In theory, though, Grimmy's definition of some of those things didn't exactly seem entirely fair and above board, but never mind. So
I was told they were fine. You make that point, but when I made those predictions, I asked the question. You went there, okay? So
yeah, like okay in a very all right, fine.
The definition I was given on the Discord chat was basically someone to finish in these positions.
Yeah.
I picked people to finish in those positions when Cheetah's gone and disappeared.
Cheetah?
Yeah.
What's happened? Cheetah, come back. Right. As we were starting with, until Jeter's internet decided to shit the bed, and you briefly only saw the side of Grimmy's head.
Sorry about
that. We've got a winner, an outsider, a long shot for each tournament. The scoring was, if you predicted the correct winner, 10 points. If your outsider came in the top 10, you get 5 points, and if your long shot came in the top 20, you got 2 points. We'll start with the Masters. I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody would dispute that it was the biggest story of the golf year, at least to date. Rory finally winning his green jacket. I mean, Jeter, were you pleased for him, or were you more just gutted for Patrick Reed?
No, I was happy for him. I think, this was the big mountain that Rory had been trying to climb for a long, long time. And I think seeing him finally overcome it was really nice. I like it was a tumultuous round. It had a lot of very high highs and a lot of very low lows. I don't know how Rory hit some of the shots that he hit that day. Um, it was really fun to watch. I was really pleased for him, and you could see what it meant to him more than anything. If I felt bad for someone, I felt bad for Rosie. I thought he played a really good Sunday. Deserved to be in contention for that championship. Birdieing 18 is not easy at Augusta. And especially with that much pressure on you. And I think Rosie's had a really good season. And I'm surprised how, despite the fact that he's had a really good season, he hasn't come away with any of these titles.
Yeah, very fair comment. I mean, you kind of you preempted what my question to Grimmy was going to be, which was that was this the last season that we think Rosie might have been able to get his hands on a second major win, because he's getting certainly to the latter stages of his career now at 45. Was that his last big chance, in your opinion, Grimmy, or has he still got a couple more in the tank?
Yeah, I still think with the consistency that he plays, because if you look across the year as a whole, he's played pretty well at a lot of the big events. And I think when his confidence and his consistency as it is, you can never really rule him out. And I think I'm not necessarily saying he's going to go win another major, but I think he'll be in the hunt in top tens and top fives a few more times. I think before the so-called decline happens, and we've seen a few old timers get one last bit of glory over the years. So yeah, I wouldn't rule him out just yet. Because again, I think his golf's probably been the best it's been for a little while this year, especially. So yeah, I still think there's a few opportunities for him.
Fair enough. I mean, let's look specifically at our picks. I mean, obviously, none of us had McIlroy as our winner pick. I mean, sort of Jeter and Grimmy both did decent jobs. Scheffler ended up finishing fourth. Oberg ended up finishing seventh. And I mean, Joe Flo was tied eighth. We did a decent job of, getting it round the hole, just couldn't knock the putt in. Outsider wise, this is where it didn't go quite so well, but went better for Grimmy, in that Grimmy will at least get points for calling Rory the outsider. However, I mean, I said Sepp Straka, who missed the cut, and Jeter did a bit better with Justin Thomas, who finished tied 36th. So not so great. But then with our long shots, Thomas Dietrich missed the cut. He was +9 and only had 7 people worse than him, including 2 seniors and 2 amateurs. So that really went well. Grimmy went for Patrick Cantley, who was tied with Justin Thomas, tied 36th. And Jeter went for Wyndham Clark, who was tied 46th. So, not like a great deal of success, it has to be said. Okay, so let's look at what that means for scoring for the Masters. And okay, now my mouse is just not working at all. There we go. This you will see that Grammy gets 5 points for calling McElroy an outsider. Jeter and I both get no points whatsoever at all in the slightest. So next, let's move on to the PGA. Interestingly, the PGA, we all agreed that McElroy was going to win. McElroy did not win. In fact, I'm pretty sure he missed the cut, I think.
I'll check that. I have the scores up. Hold on.
I mean,
no, he finished T23. He
okay.
Squeaked in, but he did make the cut.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would say that. Are we all in agreement?
Wait. No, I pulled up the raw. I looked up the PGA Championship and it showed me the results for the Tour Championship. Not helpful. Thanks, Google. I specifically typed PGA Championship.
I've now got it up. He didn't miss the cut
Rory,
in the PGA
he did,
either.
yeah. Yeah. No, I remembered he went under par late on and squeaked in like just under the cut.
Fair enough. I mean, Grammy, is it safe to say that what is probably the least favorited of the 4 majors was also kind of the most boring major this year?
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. I think there's been a lot of contention, hasn't there, recently about the PGA Championship and how it stands and how it can sort of boost its prestige, I guess, because of course it's still a major everyone wants to win, but I think everyone on the outside looking in, watching it, is kind of like, why is this here, and why, how can we spice this up a bit? And the only thing I've ever thought about in terms of being able to do that is if you are making it a PGA Championship, maybe take it like worldwide, seeing as there's already the Masters in the US and there's a US Open. Maybe take it elsewhere. But again, I don't know that much about the standard of golf courses. If there's, how prestigious the ones are all over the world versus what you get in the US, because obviously there's a lot more in the US than elsewhere. So yeah, but yeah, it was a bit of a not a snooze fest, but it was quite dull, this one, I think, from an outside perspective.
Can I get on my soapbox?
Well, I mean, I was going to lead off
You
with
already on
Grammy, but I'll let you go on your soapbox now if you want.
2 quick thoughts on this topic because I think it's relevant. PGA should go back to August because there's a lot of courses that you can't really play in the US when they do it in May or when they do it in June.
Okay.
May. There's a lot of courses in the northeast of the US or other courses in other parts of the US that don't really get seen. And when you're playing at that time of year, you kind of have to play a little bit further south. And secondly, I feel this way both about the US Open and the PGA, is they need to stop playing courses that are otherwise on the tour. I don't there's not much that you can do to Quail to make Quail harder than what it already is for the Truist or the Wells Fargo or whatever the hell it's called now.
Yeah.
They can move the tees back a little bit. They can grow the rough out a little bit. But it's not a challenge that these guys don't know. And it's fun for the majors to get to go out and see different tracks that they otherwise wouldn't get to play.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of really good PGA venues. They've gone to Bethpage. They can do, I think next year's Aronimink. They have a couple courses that are good, that are really fun, that are great PGA courses that they need to be going back to, as opposed to just let's play the courses. And I feel this way about the US Open. Next year will be at Pebble. I love Pebble. I see Pebble every year. So that's my soapbox.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think for me it also unfairly advantages the players who play week out on the PGA Tour as opposed to those who are qualifying. Like, I don't. Whereas, the Open Championship doesn't advantage the European players anymore because they're not playing it, week in, week out. I will say, like, before, just whilst we're soapboxing, I have for a long time said that the PGA Championship should be replaced by something called the World Open. By all means, launch it in America. Have the first tournament in America. But what happens is that whoever wins the tournament travels to their home country the next year. It will still get played in America a lot of the time. But if an Australian wins, it's played in Australia. If an Englishman wins, it's played in England. And yes, they'd have to have a bit of flexibility on when it would be in the calendar because of different climates. But I think that's like the best way to get renewed interest in a fourth open. And I think it would be really cool to try and find some like championship courses in some bizarre countries if I mean, imagine Jonathan Vegas wins. Who wouldn't want a major in Venezuela? Like, it'd be great. But anyway, back to the reason we're actually here. The predictions themselves. Excuse me. So obviously, McIlroy, as we've established, tied 47th, was not a good winner pick from any of us, though probably was a decent shout, just he was on a hangover because he just won the Masters. So that did not work out so well. Then I went for Justin Thomas, who missed the cut. This is becoming a recurring theme of my picks. Grimmy, in a recurring theme for his picks, put the winner as an outsider. Like Scheffler as an outsider. Then that's the one I think that really takes the piss. I can accept McIlroy as an outsider at Augusta. I can accept his other two outsiders, but
if your wording was instead of outsider was contender, then I think it makes more sense. But
it wasn't. The word was outsider.
No, but I'm saying, like, I get the. I mean, I said this at the time on the original pod when we were doing the predictions. I said I was coming for points, and I was given the definition, and I put my names down, and there was no opposition. So
yeah,
people can complain all they want. I
mean,
played the game.
Yeah,
Played the game.
you did play the game, and the game will definitely be changing next year.
I'm sure it will be. I've never been so sure of anything in my life.
Yes. Anyway, Jeter went for Max Homer, who at one point would have been a really good shout. He was running in about 5th, I think, after 2 rounds, and then he shot a 76 and a 77 and ended up tied 60th. So then we move on to our long shots. We already know that Thomas missed the cut because he was, my outsider. He was Grimmy's long shot. I went for Ricky Fowler, who, as you might have guessed, missed the cut.
Good lordy.
So yeah, that's going well for me. And then Jeter's was Akshay Bhatia, and he felt sorry for me because he missed the cut. So as we switch to the scoring screen once again, hopefully my mouse works first up. Yeah, there we go. Basically, a carbon copy of the Masters that Jeter and I have no points whatsoever, and Grimmy picks up 5 for calling somebody an outsider. next we move on to the US Open. I mean, the US Open, a little bit controversial, arguably, in the end, with sort of how it finished. I feel like Jeter's probably the closest we have to a rules official for golf of the three of us. So
He looks the most likely, doesn't he? When you look
Yeah.
at his form, to be fair.
yeah, I'm going to let you cover Sam Burns and his not relief.
It's a tricky one. I will try not to use too much technical terms, but because the rain came in mid-round, there was no preferred lie. So no lift clean in place. And when the officials came over to look at it, they said that he wasn't in standing water and he wouldn't get relief. Video proof came out after, people stepping on it, and it was a pretty waterlogged area of the course. Even if he had been able to get relief, I think it would have been maximum one club length, which I don't think would have made much of a difference. I think Burns got pretty hard done by in terms of how the rule shakeup went. But I mean, he also had a big head loss after it. He was 5 over on the back. For those who weren't watching, the weather was dismal because it turned, and then the back nine was like basically they were playing at a water park with no irrigation system. But I think that's also part of the fun of the U.S. Open is everyone was out there playing in the same conditions, and people had to figure out how they were going to turn it around on the back nine, and JJ went out and shot 3 under after having started with 5 bogeys in his first 6 holes. So it's Burns probably got screwed over a little bit, but that's how golf goes. Sometimes you get a call, sometimes you don't. All these players are constantly looking for rules officials to give them every little bit that they can get. As they should. It's within their right, and Burns didn't get the call this time, and that's going to happen.
Fair. And then, by contrast, Grammy, I think it would be fair to say that of the three of us, you probably watch the least golf overall. JJ
Yeah,
Spawn, what did you know about him before the US Open?
Not a lot, honestly. Like again, I do follow golf, but I don't really I don't know the sort of ins and outs of who's sort of going up and down the leaderboards or who comes. The only time I'll hear someone's name is if they've literally come out of nowhere and won a big tournament, has happened. But yeah, in terms of hearing about JJ Spawn beforehand, not really a lot, to be honest.
Right. And is he going to be added to the pantheon of one-time major winners, or do you think he might be the sort of person who's going to win a few now?
Who knows? I mean, to be fair, we've seen it a bunch of times. Like when random, I say random people. Obviously, they all play golf to an exceptional level, but Danny Willett being probably the nearest example I can think of winning the Masters out of nowhere. He's not really done anything of significance since then. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's a boost of his rankings and he can play some more of the bigger tournaments more consistently. I don't know. I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you about how much he could do or not do because again, him winning this tournament is kind of the first time I've ever heard of him. So we'll just have to keep an eye out for him and see how he does in sort of the. Will he be in the Ryder Cup or
Yes.
would
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, he's in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So maybe see how he does there against some of the bigger names, and then see how the early tournaments go next season and see how his form goes there. Really, that's kind of what I'll be looking out for once we go into the next year's predictions.
So anyway, let's look at our predictions. Grimmy and I both had Shane Lowry as our winner, and what would you know? He shot plus 17 and missed the cut.
Well, at least it's taken me to get to the US Open to have a bit of a gaff. But
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jeter went for Colin Morikawa, who finished tied 23rd, so fairly respectable. Outsider, though. Outsider, I finally look vaguely competent. I get some points. Russell Henley finishes tied 10th, gets me some points. Colin Morikawa we've already covered. And then Jeter went for Bryson DeChambeau, who missed the cut. So, you know, Jeter continuing the form of one of us at all times being incompetent. Then I went for Aaron Rai as my long shot, and I'm okay with it because he finished tied 33rd. Didn't get me any points, but you know, by the standards of my picks, he did all right. Meanwhile, Koepka is going to get some points for Grimmy because he finished in the top 20. He ended up finishing tied 12th at 6 over par, so that's going to be more points for Grimmy. And then Ludwig Oberg missed the cut right on the bubble for Jeter. Shot +8 for the first 2 rounds. So nothing there. So as we switch to the scoring page again, that means... Yeah, there we go. I'm on the board. I am on the board with 5 points for Russell Henley. Grimmy adds another 2 to his total, and Jeter is still not off the mark. Anyway,
Sure hope that changes.
I
know what's coming next. I'm aware of what happened at Portrush.
Yeah. So next up, we go to Portrush, as Jeter just said, and I mean, I think we talked about Rory in terms of winning a green jacket, Jeter, but how worrying is it for those who are fans of Rory how he's been doing since winning the green jacket? Because even when he's played well, he hasn't looked particularly happy or near his best.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to judge. I think, Rory talked about it at depth, as have other golfers, that like when you set this goal and it's what you've strived for years and years and years, and you finally get there, there's a lot of soul searching that has to be done on, who am I? What am I driven by? What do I want? How do I do this? Scotty talked about it at length, and I think he's connected to this in that, Scotty wants to win, but Scotty's be all end all is family. It's not winning. And I think Rory had this big goal that he'd set for himself, and he got there, and Rory was very candid when he got to Portrush, and he said, this is a celebration of all that I've achieved so far. And I want to enjoy being able to play at what's basically his home course. Not quite, but as close as you're going to get on tour. And have a memory to hold. I think Rory had a decent season outside of the Masters. He wasn't great. He was up and down, but it's also really hard to judge. Because Scotty, who we'll get to in a little bit, has been so good this year. He's just on another planet. And unless Rory's at his best, which he hasn't been, no one's beating Scotty right now if Scotty has it. So I don't know. It's ups and downs. I'm interested to see if Rory's able to refocus starting next season. He'll take time off. Ryder Cup will be the Ryder Cup. He'll take a few months off. What's it going to look like when he goes out to, Torrey and Pebble and Hawaii or whatever he plays at the start of next season? That'll be, what does he look like before we get to the Players? Is he going to be able to defend his title? That's when I think we'll really have an answer to the question.
Jeremy, Scotty wins his second major of the year at the Open Championship. It means that the only tournament he needs for his career Grand Slam is the US Open. I mean, how soon realistically do we expect him to get that? Or is he going to become the new Nicholson and win everything but the US Open?
I mean, I'd be, based on how he's playing, I'd be amazed if he doesn't win it in the next few years. I just can't see if Scheffler would need to have a drop off, like, I mean, maybe it's being harsh, but like of what like we've seen with Spieth, where like he's really not been in contention for the big ones for a while, and I just can't see the way Scheffler plays that being the case, because he just has the consistency to get himself out of a bad hole, or if he has a couple of bad holes, he could just go on a run of like 2 or 3 birdies and like 4 or 5 holes and get himself back to where he needs to be. So yeah, he's just so consistent and so much better than the rest of the competition that the worst he's ever going to be, I think, at the US Open over the next few years is he's going to be in contention unless he has an absolute stinker. So yeah, for me, I think he'll win it sooner rather than later, really.
I mean, I'm firmly of the opinion that Scotty plays at 70%. To beat him, you need to play at 100%. It's that much. But speaking of Scotty, I did actually get a winner pick. Broken my rubbish form from the rest of the picks, and I am the only person to have picked a winner. Now, granted, it's not a particularly exciting one to pick Scheffler to win a tournament, but at least I did it. Meanwhile, Gurby and Jeter both picked McIlroy as their winner. McIlroy finishes tied 7th at the end, which, perfectly reasonable, but
I mean, it's better than what he did there last time, wasn't it? So
yes,
I think that's probably a successful tournament for him in that regard.
On to outsiders. I mean, mine and Jeter's outsider is the same as Grimmy's long shot. He won't get points in any of those categories because he ended up finishing tied 40th. That's Shane Lowry. Not the best week, given he was coming back to the only course that he'd won a major on previously. But you can't win them all. Meanwhile, Grimmy's outsider was Adam Scott, and that went horrendously because he missed the cut at +9. Basically similar to one of my picks from earlier. Pretty much only old people and amateurs did worse than Scotty. Then my long shot, Bob McIntyre, finished tied 7th, gets me some points. Very happy with that. I think he's still working his way towards being in some proper major contention. I think it would not surprise me to see him pick one of the years. And Jeter went for Justin Thomas. I mean, respectable, but tied 34th does not any points equate to. So go back to our scoring screen, and we will see that the Open did very well for me. Very grateful to the Open. 12 points from the Open for me. Meanwhile, Grimmy and Jeter do not pick up any points from that. So that means the totals for this sheet. I've got 17 points from that sheet. Grimmy's got 12, and Jeter has a lovely round number. We'll leave it at that. And in a moment, we will switch to our miscellaneous. Right, I'm just going to double check because I assume that if I got your score wrong before, I probably got it wrong with this 1, 2. Right. Okay, so over to the miscellaneous now. So for the scores and cut lines, you get 5 points if you get it exact. If not, you get 3 points if you are the closest. So we'll start off with the Masters. I'll try and breeze through these fairly quickly because I don't think there's a great deal to discuss. It's just reporting what happened. For the Masters, the winning score was 11 under. So that's smack bang between Grimmy and Jeter. So they will both get some points. And the cut line was +2, which means Grimmy gets some more points, and I also get on the board on this sheet. So we'll update the Masters scores. So that's 6 points for Grimmy, 3 points for both Jeter and I. Grimmy
I'm on the board. Let's go. Only an hour into recording.
Technically 49 minutes, and that includes the 4 starts at the beginning. Because we didn't start exactly at 7, because someone was eating a sandwich.
I will throw my plate at you.
I mean, it took to be a good throw.
It's still here.
Right. Next, we move to the PGA. So the winning score at the PGA was 11 under. Grimmy, right again on the cusp, but he did also pick the exact same score as me, so that will points for both of us. Meanwhile, the cut 1 over, so Grimmy once again on the cusp but doesn't get full points, and Jeter once again picks some points up from that. So if we add the PGA's scores on, that is once again another 6 points for Grimmy, and another 3 points for both me and Jeter.
I'd like it to be known my winner score of -7 is the minimum score Scotty would have had to shoot because everyone else tied at 6 under. So I have no regrets about my choice.
I mean, how about next time you remember that Scotty is a golfer?
Well, I didn't know he was going to win. I thought Rory was going to win, at which point it was going to be a heart attack like it was at the Masters.
Yeah.
Wasn't it such?
Right. So, next we move to the US Open. And the US Open's winning score was 1 under. No, none of us, especially near that Jeter keeps the points to himself with -3.
You say especially near. I was 1 off compared to what you guys were on the last 2. Leave it.
It's further away. You were twice as shit as we were.
And I would have been fine if it hadn't started pouring rain.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily sure that's true. The rain might have softened the course up neatly for.
Grumpy man shakes fist at clouds.
Just feel like it's a bit unfair when you're 1 off and I'm 2 off to go. Oh, he's miles away.
Well, before you sort of whined too much, the cut line was 7 over.
Let's go.
Which means somebody got something exactly, and it was Jeter. Which means that tried to change the wrong thing there. That would work. Which meant that hey, sorry, everything's going wrong. But only Jeter picks up any points in miscellaneous from the US Open. He adds 8 big points, and Remy and I get nothing for that bit. And so finally, we come to the Open, and the winning score for the Open. He's been knocking on the door long enough, but it was 17 under.
Good in.
And Gurumi picks up the big points. And the cut was 1 over. So Gurumi also joint closest to that. I'll be honest, still not sure what Jeter was on about with 8 over for the Open.
I don't know. I thought maybe it was going to be blustery. I was hedging my bets on whether it would be very scoreable or very not.
I mean, for it to be +8, it would have needed to be a hurricane, and I'm pretty sure they'd have come off the course at that point.
Hey, they basically had one in freaking Pittsburgh.
So that means for the Open scores, that we have 8 points for Jeremy, and 3 points for me, and none for Jeter. So next, we move on to the prize cut. This was points every time the player you picked missed the cut. I went for Victor Hovland because Victor was in dreadful form up until a week before we recorded the episode when he won a tournament and then proceeded to play pretty well in the majors. Grimmy went for Spieth and Jeter went for his favourite Patrick Reed. Jeter just really loves golfers called Patrick. Big fan of all of them.
Especially ones that really wind up people because they play slowly.
Yes. So, I mean, I'll show you the scores. Jeter gets 4 points for 2 cuts missed. Spieth missed 1 cut and gives Grimmy 2 points. Hovland made every fucking cut. And in the process would have been a brilliant answer for the next question, which was who would make the players who would make every cut without winning one. And if you picked somebody who missed any cut at all, you got no points. Nobody got any points from this question. We all picked people. The only time I could have got points would have been if I had reversed my answers.
My personal favorite of this whole thing was I went, I'm gonna pick someone who's gonna play in like one event so that I know that they get cut. and then Reed didn't get cut in the one event he played in, so he qualified into others in which he got cut.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly what
Ah.
happened. Right. So next we move on to women's. This was to try and predict somebody who would win a women's major in 2025. Grimmy went for Lydia Ko. I think Lydia Ko was a perfectly sensible, reasonable answer. Just not correct in the end. In fact, the best she did in a major this year was tied for 12th at the PGA. She made 4 cuts out of 5, but nothing. Jeter decided that he was going to go for 16-year-old amateur asterisk tally. I mean, I don't know how to frame this more kindly, so I'll just be factual. She played 2 of the 5 majors, and she missed the cut at both of them. So
Shrug. See, shrug.
irritatingly, I, on the other hand, was so close. So
shame.
close.
Real shame.
I went for Gino Titical, and not only did she finish 4th at the PGA, but she lost in a playoff at the Evian. And I wanted to cry and throw things. Yeah, she made 4 cuts,
Clouds.
and 2 of them were so close, so close. Hate it here.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I didn't get punished for rolling the dice here, so it's all good.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll update scores. Oh look, it's a load of zeros. Right. Next we come to the bonuses. I mean, we'll start with mine. I said no live players on the podium in any major. I mean, do you know what? I'm not mad that I went for this one, because whilst there were 2 players on the podium across the 4 events, literally a pair of bogeys from those 2 people, and I get my points. So I was close. It's not like Bryson or Brooks or Rahm or just outright won a tournament. It was just a couple of 3rd places that thwarted me from Reed and Shambo.
I mean, Bryson was T2, so not a pair of thirds.
T2.
Yeah.
If he bogeyed, it would still have been different. I just remember that bit.
Yeah, I just like correcting you.
Okay. Fine. Well, seeing as you like to point out what happens to me, I'll point out what happened to you. You said at least 5 aces across all the majors, and oh no, there were only 4. Oh no, I'm so sad for you, Tosser.
Oh no, I'm actually here's the thing that I will say. I said a good line. You were like, there's no way that this doesn't happen. You were like, there could be double this.
Yeah,
I am a good odds maker, if nothing else.
Yeah, just not
Just went on the wrong side of the line.
Yeah. And then Grimmy,
Yeah.
you said 5 big names which we determined to be major winners would rejoin the PGA Tour. How'd that go for you?
Not very well. I won't lie, Z. Not very well. I was very much trying to hold on to the hope that maybe there was going to be some sort of agreement with Liv and the PGA Tour where both players could go backwards and forwards, but it obviously didn't happen. So I'll see you in 2028 when they eventually get their act together and come to some sort of agreement.
Yeah. So that means all of us lose points. What I didn't realise until I re-listened to the episode, what was I doing accepting a +/-8 for this? What was wrong with me? Was I drunk? Like,
I mean, only you can tell us that, Z.
well, I don't drink, so I can't have been, but something was going on. Jeremy was the only one who took his lower offer and took a -3. Even Jeter took -6. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah. So basically, the bonuses didn't go very well for us. And so that I'll reveal the miscellaneous totals. After all of that, I have 1 point for this screen. 1. Meanwhile, Grimmy has 19, and Jeter has 12. I mean, look, I generally try and like go, ooh, I wonder who won. But I'm pretty sure that like anyone with like a primary school level of maths can kinda maybe work out.
Z, your math is very wrong, by the way.
What do you mean it's wrong?
How the fuck did I get the +12 from a minus when I've only like
14. Yeah.
3, 6, 9, 14, 18 -6 is +12.
where's the 18? Oh, that 4 looked like a 0 on my screen. Now it makes sense. I'm looking at the font.
Hey,
That
you're
4
such
looks
an
even.
idiot. I literally put in like a equal sum to add it all up. You can't yell at my maths when the computer's doing it. Right.
Oh, just tremendous.
Anyway, in third place, because he can't read, apparently.
Only read I know is Patrick.
Is Jeter, who, for an entire golf major season, finishes with 12 points.
In golf, the name of the game is to go low, right?
Not in this particular event, though. In second place is me. If we'd have stopped after the winners, I'd have been very happy. But apparently, I can't judge a winning score or a cut line to save my life, which is ironic because outside of the majors, Jeter will vouch I am really good at it. And
No, I won't do any such thing.
Yeah.
Not on camera, anyway.
Yeah. No, he's useless. He
Yeah.
can't do math either. We've established this.
So one can't do math, one can't read.
Yeah. And so for his very first Bad Psychic title, with a crushing win of more points than me and Cheetah combined. That was a really long drum. It's Grimmy. Congratulations, Grimmy. I think this very much makes up for your previous terrible appearance in the Bubble Cup.
Yeah. To be fair, I questioned on the bonus thing because I thought I usually go for the bigger end of the bet, and this time I didn't. So I mean, it wouldn't make a difference if I did, apparently, judging by the scores. So yeah, but no, glad to get the first title on the board.
Yes. So I said last time after you did terribly that we'd definitely invite you back. Now you beat us, you can fuck right off. But no. Vegeta, still waiting for a Bad Psychics win from you anytime soon.
I don't know what other episodes have I been on recently that I feel confident about. Strictly with my pairings of a bunch of women who are taller than the men, that'll go well.
Yes. Okay. So we're expecting a first win for Vegeta, roughly around Christmas time. Noted.
Actually,
Yes,
no, it's totally going to be the IndyCar after I picked Pelot to finish like 5th. That'll be what it is.
I mean,
Duh.
it still could be, dependent on where you put everyone else. But yeah, no. That's it for this episode. Grimmy crushed us. We're gonna try and get our revenge very soon in our Ryder Cup predictions, which will be in a couple of episodes time. But yes, gents, thank you very much for joining me. Good job, both of you. One more so than the other. And to you at home, remember, it could always be big mistakes, not big mistakes. See you soon. Bye.